In late 2024, I discovered I had a handful of pieces that I had video footage of, and I thought I'd share them in 2025. A little sneak peek into my growth as an artist, and to be honest, a part of me cringes at sharing some of these pieces, as it was during a time when I was still trying to discover my process and style. I hope you enjoy this look back.
Today we're going to work in my large magazine journal, and this one, the color palette came about because of these flowers that had dropped off a fake tree that my daughter came to pick up, and that inspired me to try out these colors. So right now I'm just putting down some gesso. I'm using my brayer because I don't want it consistent in thickness. I want some of that background from the magazine showing through. I want to catch some of the texture that is created because of the thin pages in this magazine. I really love using this journal because of that texture that you get, the kind of bubbling and stuff when you put together multiple pages. I use some matte medium gel to adhere 3 pages to create one, so it's a little bit sturdier and can withstand some of the things I set forth to do in this journal. I also tape up the binding bound edge to help with the water not seeping through to other pages. So now I'm pulling out some of my Studio 71 colors. This is I believe it's pale portrait pink. So I'm spraying the substrate, the surface, with water because I want this to move real easy. I want to be able to create soft edges with it and get it really thin. The color lay down really thin. Alright, now I'm coming in with primary magenta. Now I did not add any water down. And you can see how I'm softening that color out to the right more than I am on the left. And I'm using a real dry brush to get any of the wet paint moved out so it's really soft. I'm going to get that layer good and dry to go in with my next layer. And sometimes I will turn things as I work just so that I'm not always being directionally supported. Now this is raw sienna, and I'm going to add a tad of water to that to loosen it up and get it to be nice and thin and flow nicely on the surface of the paper. And I'm adding to that some titanium white. I'm actually using titanium white rather than gesso here. So I get that well mixed, and then I'm going in again with my brush. And something I'm gonna notice here real quickly is it's very similar to the light portrait pink, maybe a little bit less pink and more on the yellow side. So I'm gonna go in here and add a little bit more of the raw sienna. And you can see I'm laying that paint down a little bit heavier than I did the first 2 layers. Although you will see I change my hold onto this brush and I'll start to feather it out against those edges. This journal is so large, it's always a challenge on my art desk, and to get it all into the viewfinder too.
I became a nightmare. I've said it doesn't matter now, but it defeats me. Shackles around one's feet is not so neat. Oh, hurry with the kisses, your lips and...
Alright, now I'm going to go in with burnt umber. And here I'm going in with my finger, drying too fast for me to get it softened out. So what you'll see me do here in just a moment is I'll grab a baby wipe and I will use that baby wipe to keep wetting my finger so that it will run smoothly over that paint to soften that edge out. But I don't want to lose my contrast, so you'll see me coming in with more concentrated paint to keep that contrast level up. I just come in and I smooth that out, and that enables me to blend a harsh edge really nicely with your fingers. I love to do that. Glazing medium will do the same thing. I just did not want to use glazing medium on this because I did not want to get the glossy effect. I wanted to keep that matte, so I chose not to come in with the glazing medium.
Oh, who would I be?
Alright, and these are gelatos, and they are a water-soluble crayon by Faber-Castell. I love gelatos, but I have not used them in a long time. And so I had pulled 2 colors, or I think 4 colors really, out to work on and use in my next few projects. And I chose the watermelon and iced currant, which actually is sort of a metallic, which is that darker color that I'm laying down. And again, these are water soluble, so they will, if you drop water on here, even after you blend them, they will reconstitute.
Where did all the swallows fly when I was only 17? Caught up in a dream that became a nightmare. It must have been the first time that evil kissed my face. Oh, but little did I know. Where did all the swallows fly when I
Alright, now I'm pulling out the raw sienna and adding some water to thin it out for this next layer. And I'm applying this layer again with my finger. You can see I have that baby wipe close to me so that I can use that, the liquid from that, to smooth out excuse me, any edges. The thing I'm really attracted to about using your fingers when you're painting is you can really convey a lot of movement with the paint, how it gets applied when you apply it with your fingers. And I really like that. You can control also the intensity of the paint very easily when you apply it with your fingers. And for me, it just seems I'm a little bit more connected. I have a tendency to go to painting with my fingers a lot. Now, as I get close to that gelatos, I'm going to reconstitute that because it is water soluble when I hit it with that paint. But it is enabling me to really blend it nicely into the raw sienna that I'm placing over there. And now I'm going to go back in with some burnt umber. I just feel like there needs to be some more contrast in those colors. And again, I'll be going in with my fingers. You see me preparing that baby wipe. And you can see me really smoothing out those edges, fanning it out, blending it nicely. And then coming back in with some more of the concentrated color pigment to get the contrast. And you can see I've got the smoothness that I want at the edges, but not the impact of the color, the darkness of the burnt umber. So I'm just taking it directly from the tube right onto the paper into the corner there to help apply down heavier consistency of that paint so that you get the color and the contrast that I'm looking for. Burnt umber is one of my very all-time favorite paints. The color of this is just spectacular. It's like a non-black black. It has the effects of the black, but not of a dark color like black, but it's a lot softer, and it's definitely more of what I feel like a color you find in nature, and I like that. So now I'm taking an area that I feel like is a big block of color and breaking it up a little bit with that stark contrast I also felt like it would very pair well nicely with that iced gelato that I had put in, the darker of the iced currant, the darker of the two pinks of gelatos. And as you can see right there, it definitely contrasts beautifully with the burnt umber. By also putting this block of color in here, I'm also helping you the eye lead from one side of the painting into the other side, or in this case, journaling page. Now I'm going to come in with some gesso because I want some contrast going in the opposite direction. I want to push back some of those whiter areas, or lighter areas as the case may be. So I'm going to come in, and instead of just using titanium white, and because this is going down as its own layer, gesso costs a lot less than titanium white, so I'll use it in this instance direct to paper and as a white.
Tell me what you want with me. Is it just some rest you need? An escape from the world? Oh, then let's escape the world. Am I in the high? Are you bouncing up and down, far above ground? Am I in your core? My soul's twisting and turning.
My goal here is to really bring that in, to feel like more of a mist or a cloud coming in. I just want it to be soft, even though it is striking in its brightness in contrast to the other elements going on the page. So coming in here and bringing your eye across the page just like I did with the dark areas.
Far above ground, am I in your core? My soul's twisting, almost hurting, like you are, like you are.
So this is a Tombow marker, which is a water-soluble marker, and I felt like there just needed to be some movement, I just felt like there needed to be some sharpness in some areas. Everything is just so soft, and so this was my first attempt at trying to get that feel. And this was the Tombow ABT, and the color number is 772. So I just wanted to get some, in contrast to the softness, I wanted to get some rough edges. And so I went in with this, and just in the end, I wasn't happy with it. I just felt like it wasn't enough. And it kind of blended in a lot with that pink area. And you couldn't see that, the jagged of the edges and the sharpness.
You and me, it's crazy. Yeah, you are.
And I really kept trying with that, but it wasn't what was gonna work for that. Stabilo, all pencil, and I'm gonna go in with the brown, and I'm gonna grip this at the very back of the pencil to allow it to go where it wants to. And this way I have less control over it. It's more a fluid movement, more organic. And really, I felt like I was done with that. And so I came in with the petals and put them up against it to see how I did in capturing the feel that I got from those originally. And I decided, I laid them out there and I was like, oh, okay. So I decided to go ahead and glue them as my focal point on this art journaling page. So what this is a fluid matte medium. I went over the Stabilo all. Instead of going over it with water, I went over it with some fluid matte medium to activate it, but also to make it all, I don't have to then go in and fixate it, use a fixative on it. So that's what I did here. But I think I have some of this fluid matte medium in a brush for my travel. Alright, so now I'm going to go in with the matte medium gel and attach those flowers.
Wave me goodbye, no matter how hard I try. I'm not amused. This industry's all too confused. They sold me a lullaby. Sold me a lullaby.
And you know, now that I'm looking back on this, those marks almost look like branches, and I didn't intend that to be that way, but they do look like branches. And here I felt I was done, and I was gonna let those dry and go to it, but I just wanted that contrast again between the soft and the jagged and the rough. And so after putting those flowers down, I came in again with my Stabilo all in the brown. I literally just dipped it into the matte medium fluid and just did the same kind of movement I did originally with the Tombow marker, and getting that rough and jagged contrast to the soft of the paint. And then I was so much happier with this when I put down those marks. And I wasn't quite sure how far I wanted to go, so I had only put out a little bit of that fluid matte medium. And you'll see I decided I need more. It just needs more. Not only do I like the way that that jagged edge appears in stark contrast to the softness, but I like how the jagged edge appears from the dark element going into the light element. Only allow myself a little bit of that to do it and see how it felt, and then progress from there. And sometimes that's how things are. You make small movements, and then when you come back and look at it, you're like, that was a really big movement to just piece together by quantities of small ones. And that is where I called it done. Thank you for letting me share with you.